Whoa, Nelly! You know what time it is, everyone. It's time for Mick Gillespie and Chuck Walter on the Cubs Baseball Channel. Another day, another podcast, another Cubs victory. We've been saying that a lot lately. Cubbies now 51-51 on the season. First time at 500 since I believe it was mid-May when the Cubs were 19-19. Cubs are going streaking.
We're going streaking! Yes!
Rachel Phelps, if you had plans to break up this team, not so fast.
Any ideas?
On how we can get worse?
Mick, I think we should start doing this on some Victoria shows. You're not at the hotel right now. You don't have to raid through the pantry and grab yourself a $17 Keystone Light. You have the kegerator behind you. I got a little Don Julio. I've been trying to open up this Koval for the last month.
You do that. I'm going to pour in honor of the Cubs while you're drinking in honor of the Cubs because the boys are hot right now.
The boys, it's the summer of George. It's the summer of the Cubs. Yeah, so Don Julio, I'm just going to take a little sip, just a little celebratory sip.
There you go, right there.
I got places to be.
Halfer.
It's 10:30 a.m. Central Time. It's Friday.
A little halfer, but look, they deserve it. I mean, they deserve it. The boys are streaking right now, and I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but last night they dismantled the Cardinals again. They win their sixth straight game, and they're forcing management to rethink maybe selling off the Marcus Stromans. And obviously, Cody Bellinger has just been a beast. Such a fun team. And how about Justin Steele last night? He is an all-star. He's one of the best pitchers in the National League. And he was so excited about that win. These guys I think that they're on double secret probation, Charlie, but they're going to go out there and they're going to win the collegiate competition just to be able to, show Dean Warmer that they deserve to be there.
They're fired up. The only thing that scares me a little bit is through the last handful of games, pretty much since the first series out of the All-Star break, since Red Sox and Yankees, you look at who they've beaten in terms of the Washington Nationals and the Cardinals a bunch, and the White Sox a bunch. Competition is going to pick up right after that deadline. You'll have a slate with the Reds, and then it's Atlanta. So you kind of have to pick your battles here, see what's going to happen in terms of that. But I think what we have seen from Chicago right now is that they're better than all these teams significantly.
Yeah.
And maybe you roll the dice. If the Cubs are serious about winning this division right now and want to be buyers, they're not going to be buyers and go out and get some of the top people on the market. I wouldn't think. They just need some pieces to help them contend while you don't blow up your farm system. And two pieces that I've looked at, reliever, let's start with Brent Suter for the Colorado Rockies. You know him as a former Milwaukee Brewer, actually is a Moeller High School guy where I went to high school. So Brent Suter's been super consistent, been durable throughout the years. I'm stunned at how little people talk about Brent Suter, and I guess, middle relievers don't get a lot of accolades, but he's been fantastic. He'd help your team big time. I don't think it would cost too much. And then the other that may cost a little more because there's not a ton of amazing hitters on the market, and you said it's a seller's market, is Jeimer Candelario, who is a former Cub and was a former Smoky. You saw him. He's having a really good year right now. He's a plus 800 OPS guy, probably 25 to 30 home runs. Homegrown talent, you bring him back to your lineup, you have your third baseman, and now all of a sudden really the only position that you're struggling with is catcher, I guess. At that point, you got 7-8 guys in your lineup that you feel pretty good about. Tauchman in center field. I know a lot of people on the chats have been saying they really like Mike Tauchman. He was part of that San Francisco Giants team that won a franchise record 107 games a few years ago. He was not on the team by the end of the year, if that says anything. But he's a good player. He had one of the top WAR in baseball, wins above replacement that season. And I think Tauchman is serviceable if he's your eighth guy in the lineup.
Well, there's a lot there. I mean, that was a lot of stuff you threw at me.
Okay, all right. Let's take it back because I was told one time by a talent coach. I'm a broadcaster, by the way, and I was working for CBS, and she said the number one thing when you're doing an interview with someone, no double-barreled questions, because they're going to answer the last one. You ask them one question, and you shut the hell up. So that's what I'm going to do. Should the Cubs go after Jeimer Candelario and Brent Suter?
All right, look, let me start with this, okay? Fangraphs Cubs playoff odds. after winning 6 in a row and getting to 500. To make the playoffs, it's 21.5%. So that's up from 13.6% on Tuesday, right? That's a good sign. To win the division, only 12.2%, right? But you look at Cincinnati, they're only a 29.2% chance to win to make the playoffs and a 15.5% chance to take the division. So, I mean, it's not like there's a lot different there. I'd love to see Jeimer Candelario come back. I called his games when he was in Double-A, and he's a switch hitter, plays good defense, great guy. He would love to be back in a Cubs uniform, right? So that would be just a great story. The problem is, first off, where will the Cubs be at the deadline, Charlie? I mean, right now they're 5.5 back, 51 and 51, right? So do they win the next 2 or 3 games and then put the Cubs management in a tough spot where they're over 500? I mean, it's not like they're trying to chase down the Orioles right now. Milwaukee's only 57 and 46.
Love the Orioles, by the way.
I think they're good, dude.
The diehard fans. The diehard fans
they're 62 and 40, 22 games over 500.
They're 62 and 40. They haven't even won a regional qualifying match. No, they're good. You just do bring up Baltimore a lot on this show. I thought it was kind of funny.
They have the best record in baseball besides Atlanta.
You say Baltimore. You say the Baltimore Orioles. So
the Orioles.
It's just like you saying it.
All right, look. So where will they be at the deadline? I think that's part of it. I mean, they're putting
3 over. I think they'll be 3 over.
If they're 3 over and you're the management, you can't go and make these trades and get rid of Stroman and Bellinger and Hendricks. I mean, I think I wouldn't trade any of my top end prospects, but all of a sudden you look and what the Angels did yesterday really makes us have to stop and pause and say, okay, they had the exact same odds to make the playoffs as the Cubs on Tuesday, right? They go out, they trade their number 2 and their number 3 prospects, Bush and Caro, a great pitcher and a great 20-year-old catcher, to get, Giolito from the Sox and a reliever, right? And you're saying, okay, well, why are they doing that? Well, obviously, they think they have a chance to make the playoffs. Also, they want to keep Shohei Ohtani. If they go 0 for 2, this is going to be one of the biggest boneheaded moves in management history. It's all in. I mean, that's like putting all the chips on the middle of the table. I don't think the Cubs are going to have to do that if they decide to kind of stay pat and then maybe make a couple of small deals. But you're right. They've got to get some help at third base. Maybe you bring some guys in from the minor leagues to play third base, give Jake Slaughter a chance. B.J. Murray, they're not ready, but maybe you do that anyway. Maybe you go out and get Candelario, then, and throw him in that spot. They're not going to worry about catcher this year. Bellinger playing first base is good enough for me. I mean, the guy can hit. Ian Happ's had a good year again in the outfield. So, I mean, look, there's pieces here. And what the players are doing, and I put this in here, and my mom used to say to me, actions speak louder than words. You could talk all you want, but what are you going to do about it? And Charlie, I got to give you a lot of credit. You've been saying, hey, we needed to sign Bellinger to a long-term deal. This 6-game winning streak for a guy that thinks you need to sell and build the roster up for the future does make you pause for a second and say, man, I mean, the players, if they want this thing bad enough, and they're forcing management to kind of set back and reconsider maybe what their game plan is, winning speaks louder than words to me.
You can't ship Cody Bellinger. 1,000% you can't get rid of Cody Bellinger right now. I don't care if at the end of the year you just get the pick for him because you weren't able to sign him. The Yankees just zipped up the duffel bag and they had a few more $1,000 bills in that bag. You can't get rid of Cody Bellinger. You have to ride him until the wheels fall off of this thing. Even if even if you would get 3 top prospects from an organization, you just can't. You can't tell Cody that, hey, we're punting on the season when your team's at 500 or when your team's above 500 and you're chasing a Brewers squad that has great pitching, but their hitting is an abomination. The Cardinals, who are typically so good and have a decent roster, are finito. They're toast. They're not selling. They don't know what the hell they're doing at this point. The Pittsburgh Pirates were first place for half the year, or not half the year, but a quarter of the year. Now they suck again. And then the Reds, you're not serious about the Reds. The Reds aren't going to buy right now. They're going to stay put. They realize they're in the situation that you kind of feel the Cubs are in right now. They're just not ready to contend, so they should hold or they should sell. I think the Reds are just going to hold, maybe get some controllable pitching if they can, but not too much of a splash. But with the Cubs right now, it is that real tough situation because 3 days after the trade deadline, you could get swept by Cincinnati. You could lose 2 or 3 to Atlanta or vice versa. And all of a sudden you're like, we're 9 back again. What are we doing?
You get everybody fired too. I mean, look, if your management, you're Jed Hoyer, and you're in there watching the games like they do. I've been in the box before. Crane Kenny's in there. Tom Ricketts is in there. Your different scouts and other front office guys are in there. And you got to make the decision on what's the best thing for the future. And you know that this is definitely a seller's market. Then you keep Bellinger, and then you don't re-sign him, and then you keep Stroman, and you don't pick up, you don't re-sign him, and you don't make the playoffs. You really didn't get much for the guys that you had, and where the farm system is right here, and take it from a guy that's been with the Cubs, organization for 20 years. I'm telling you guys, and you might not want to hear this, and from the comments. Sometimes you guys don't like me speaking the truth, but that's in the honor of Harry Carey, what we're going to do on this channel.
You can't handle the truth.
Holy cow. Look, the truth is this, is that the prospects aren't ready yet, but they will be ready soon. So if you go out and you make deals, you need to get guys that are going to fit in that same window, right? You don't want to get guys that are 18. You want to get guys that are, that are kind of coming along and that are going to be able to slide in there with Pete Crow Armstrong and Owen Casey and B.J. Murray and all these other guys that are going to be fighting for spots. You want to have guys that are in that window. So the fact that it's a seller's market means that you're going to be able to demand that. And look, that trade that the Angels made, trading Kai Busch and Edgar Caro for Lucas Giolito is a horrible trade. It is. I mean, you're giving away 2 really good prospects, that guys that are going to be forced to, that are going to be in the big leagues, and they're going to force you to put them in there soon. Kai Busch is a starting pitcher, top of the rotation guy. You get Giolito. If you don't make the playoffs and you don't sign Ohtani, then guess what? You're an absolute failure. But that's the risk that you take, and that's what I'm saying that Jed Hoyer's going to have to look at. He's going to have to figure out if it's worth it, and what this team's doing, which is absolutely amazing to me, is they're making that decision really hard by going out there every day and kicking the crap out of the Cardinals. And Charlie, I love it.
How can you not love it? How can you not be fired up?
I love it.
You know me, Mick. I'm a big time degenerate. I love placing wagers every once in a while. And one of the things that I do is I have these 5-game parlays that I've pretty much lost every single one since 2017. But every once in a while,
you bet on baseball?
Every once in a while, oh yeah, I'll bet on anything. I'll bet on anything that involves human beings, horses, robots, anything. What I'll do is I'll put down the 5-game parlay. The first four legs will win. And the 5th one, you hedge your bet. You hedge your bet to make sure you win some money and that everyone's happy at the end of the day, mainly my wife and my bank account. So with that being said, could the Cubs hedge their bets, keep Cody Bellinger, keep Kyle Hendricks, and ship Marcus Stroman? I know his value isn't as high as it was a month ago, but you ship him because it's such a seller's market. You receive 2 young pitching prospects potentially that you can throw into the farm system, potentially guys that are in double and triple A if you can receive them, that are more ready for the big leagues. And then you call up Ben Brown to take a spot in the rotation, and you hedge your bets. You say, Stroman's probably better than Ben Brown's going to be right now, but let's see what we have for the future while still trying to contend for this year.
Yeah, look, and I mean, that's the tough part about this. And I've said it here before, I feel like the worst place you can be is where the Cubs are right now, and that's, just outside of the playoffs. Do you sell or do you buy?
You could be a lot worse, Mick. I was working 3 weeks ago. I was in the San Francisco market. You could be the Oakland A's, where their fans are literally just going to opposing stadiums with a sell the team. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse.
But I mean, look, I like where the A's are right now.
Oh, give me a break. You like where the A's are?
They're going to be
no
moving
one
to
is
a brand new
valuing your
stadium.
opinion. You just the guy with put on your hat again to someone. You like where the A's are at? They are an abomination.
They stink, but they're going to have great picks, and by the time they get into that stadium in Las Vegas, they're going to be good. I mean, haven't you learned your lesson yet? Don't count them out long term. I mean, they just continue to be able to go out there, scout, and develop and make a good team. Like, look, they stink this year. I love Shea Langoliers, their catcher. I think that they've got players that are learning on the job right now, and eventually they're going to be pretty good. And then when they get to Vegas, they're actually going to have a nice stadium and money to keep some of these guys around. So we won't have the A's experience anymore where they are basically a 4A team trading all their players to other teams that are, basically going to give them more prospects to try to get these guys into the big leagues and then trade them again. I mean, I think they're going to be stable. But that's a topic for another show. Let's talk about the Chicago Cubs and where the Cubs are going right now. The fact that they've won 6 in a row, the fact that they are forcing management to second guess maybe some of the trades that they're talking about. And I know from last year, when they were kind of doing the same thing at the deadline, and instead of coming out fighting, they actually rolled over on their back and all those trades were made. That I really believe that Tom Ricketts wants to win and that Jed Hoyer wants to win. And if these guys continue to do what they're doing right now, if they win out in this series, I just can't imagine being 3 games over 500, and all of a sudden you start shelling out all your talent. I just don't think it'll happen. I think maybe you're right. You go out and get like somebody like a Jamer Candelario to come in, and then maybe you see what you got in the farm system that could help out. I'd love to know what Ben Brown could do at the big league level as a pitcher. Who knows? But they're forcing management, just like in the movie Major League. Remember, they wanted to lose to move the team to Miami. Well, there's a team in Miami now. But they're forcing management to have to sit back and go, hey, wait a second. Maybe we can do this.
We know one thing's for sure. There's no maybe here. It's a definitely. The Cardinals friggin' stink. They friggin' suck right now. They're awful. They have talent on the corners with Arenado and Goldschmidt. I don't know. They have some players all around the diamond that you look at when they've been in their career years, and they're all still young, and they were good players. It looked like they had their core and their nucleus and their role players, and everything was set up to be successful. Jordan Walker's been pretty good, but everyone's having career worst years. Arenado and Goldschmidt can't get the job done at the end of the day. The pitching stinks.
They're not having bad years though on the corners. It's the
no.
Wilson Contreras, our good friend, who got knocked out of the game last night on a backswing, they put a lot of the blame on him. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but it's not Contreras. It's Tyler O'Neill. It's Paul DeYoung. It's Edmonds been in and out of the lineup and hasn't been as effective as he's been. Nolan Gorman's just feast or famine. It's everything. It's everything in that lineup is not working right now, and we kind of love to hear it. Mick, I want you. You got your buddy in studio with that little voice change. Why don't you tell me the Cardinals suck? Can I hear you, baby?
Charlie, I gotta tell you something. The Cardinals stinky.
Yes.
They're terrible.
They're really bad right now. They're worse than the Pittsburgh
That's my
Pirates.
Buddy Bailey voice, by the way. You remember Buddy Bailey? He's the Smokies, old Smokies manager. He's the manager of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, right? And this is. Can I do an impression? Do you mind?
I don't care.
Go ahead.
Yeah. As long as he's not watching, I don't want you to offend him.
Listen, Charlie, we gotta know if we got prospects or suspects. That's something that I always look around and ask myself when I see a group of guys who show up and think they can go out there and play this game. So I want to know, do we have suspects or are we a team of prospects?
Oh, I'm going to run through my plastic brick wall. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for getting me fired up.
And he's a great manager, by the way, but he just has a high-pitched voice. I love Buddy, and that is my Buddy Bailey impression.
Can we tell the people the Smitty McDonald story? I know it's a little niche. Not probably anyone knows who Smitty is, but it's a great story.
All right. Well, look, I don't know if any of you guys know Mark Smith, Smitty. He's like at every spring training game. I call him the mayor of Sloan Park. I mean, he's outside every day. He's from Chattanooga, and I love Smitty. Smitty's, I mean, like, you're talking about a super Cubs fan, lives in Tennessee, but has a place in Arizona, and is at a lot of games at Wrigley. And so some of you guys watching are going to go, oh, man, they're talking about Smitty on here, right? Well, Smitty owns a bunch of McDonald's, and my son loves McDonald's. And Smitty's actually hooked my son up with free McDonald's, which is great, especially, expensive as food is right now. So we're in the press box in Chattanooga, and I introduce Charlie to Smitty, and I didn't tell Charlie that Smitty owned McDonald's. What happened after that, Charlie?
We were talking. McDonald's got brought up for some reason. I just thought it was casual conversation because that happens from time to time. And I said I wouldn't let my son touch McDonald's with a 10-foot pole. That great beef, I wouldn't feed it to my dog. And you right away just started losing it. And I'm like, what did I do now?
And I snuck out of the room.
You're like,
I'm like, all right, guys, I'll see you later.
He said, listen here, son. By the end of it, we were cool. But he was heated. He was like, this is great beef.
Yeah, he was like, it's grade A meat.
It's funny because now I actually love McDonald's. I think it's delicious.
Man.
The quarter pounder,
the app
fantastic.
is great, dude. The McDonald's app is fantastic.
Yeah, we went through a rough patch, but McDonald's is great. All right, so Cardinals and Cubs do it again tonight. 3 more. Then it's the game against the Cincinnati Reds. Then it's closing time. You make your decision. Do you let it ride or not? I'm actually going to the Thursday game at Wrigley against the Reds. And I'm really hoping, man, that I see Cody Bellinger on that field. I think it's 75-25 that you see him on that field at this point.
Really?
What the Cubs? Yeah,
so you
I
think that they're in a spot where they have to keep Bellinger?
I think so.
Enough.
I think he's too good a player. I believe, and I may be wrong. 3-4 years from now, he may be what Cody Bellinger was once someone pays him. You don't know in these situations. It's always tough to figure it out. But I look at how Christian Yelich has revitalized his career around the same age, maybe even a little bit older. And you just do not want to be the GM that ships this generational talent away. Someone signs him for 6 years, and Cody Bellinger's an MVP twice. Like, you just can't have that happen, in my opinion. Equally as bad would be if you threw him a contract bigger than Dansby's, and he went back to 2021 Cody Bellinger, where his OPS was like 680. That would be horrible too. But I mean, watch the guy. Watch the contact he makes, and the pop in his bat when he connects. I mean, he hits it hard.
I know,
and that translates yearly.
Look, I think that he is going to get traded. I think they're going to get a great deal for him, and all of this is for naught. I hope I'm wrong, because I love what they're doing right now. I love the inspiration that these guys are playing with, but I just don't know that it might be too little too late. All we're going to do is just sit back and watch. And for those of you that are going to make comments based on me saying that, at the end of the day, what it's all about is winning a world championship. And if you can make your team better next year, then, by getting rid of a guy that you don't know you're going to have on your roster next year, if you can get, 3 players that are as good as the one guy you might draft as compensation for him leaving, then maybe you need to do that. But look, these games mean something. Don't get me wrong. Look, if they keep kicking the Cardinals, if they keep ripping the feather off the Cardinal,
you just say kick the Cardinals' ass, Mick.
I was going to say it. That's what I was going to say. If they keep kicking the Cardinals' ass, then I think that
ripping the feathers out of their. I like that too, though.
Is that good? Look, and I'm serious. I think if they keep playing, look, if this streak gets to like 10 games, I mean, I would say, hey, look, man, we're 4 games over 500. Let's get this thing.
Yeah, you can't break up the party, and if you do,
but
you can't break up the party, and if you do, the most logical scenario is if you were to test the market with Marcus Stroman, and someone was willing to pay you the basically number 1, number 2 in your rotation that he's been all year. Someone's willing to pay you that price. I think you can get rid of him. You can maybe call up a bundle of prospects and Wicks/Ben Brown, whoever's more ready to contribute right away. You throw him in that 3 hole. You move up Kyle Hendricks to your 2. You hope that Tyone has, a better half to this season. You hope that Smiley's making us all smile, and you let it rock. You let it rock, and you get your 2 prospects that hopefully slot somewhere in between 1 and 5 in your farm system.
Well said, my friend. Hey, everyone that's hanging out, please like, subscribe to the channel, share, and give us comments.
Comments are huge.
I love it when you guys bring the heat, because this is not state-run radio. This is not state-run Cubs broadcasting. We're going to tell it the way we see it, Harry Carey style. We want you guys to do the same thing. You want to bring it on, bring it on. And we're going to be doing live shows soon, and I hope that you guys will bring the heat. Come on, baby. Let's go.
Hey, we're already talking about it. If we could get to 1,000, well, maybe a little watch party in Wrigley, baby. Maybe a little watch party.
If we get to 1,000, I'm going to fly up there and meet Charlie from the AA Cubs to the big league Cubs. We'll go to we'll hang out with Billy over at the Country Club in Wrigleyville. Invite all you guys to come hang out with us, and we'll do live watch parties for the Cubs games and drink a lot of cold beer and have a good time. How about that?
We love it. There you have it. And maybe some more tequila in our future tomorrow. Tequila. So, yeah, everyone, tell your sisters, tell your brothers, tell the milkman, tell the librarian about the Cubs baseball channel. And we'll see you on every day that ends with a Y pretty much. Or until Mick has a little too much to drink on his boat and can't do one of these. So, either way, we'll be all disheveled, hair in the air.
Not going to happen.
All right, enjoy, buddy. Have a good day.